with Dara and Miles from 100 Burgers Group and Fancy Hanks Group, two of the founders of that. Pretty iconic Melbourne food and bev group. A bunch of different venues in there, like the Welcome Twos. We're in Welcome to Thornbury here at the moment. Fancy Hanks there obviously as well. What else we got? Bell's Hot Chicken.
Welcome to Brunswick.
Welcome to Brunswick.
Mr. Burger. Hightail.
Murmur. Brunswick Mess Hall.
Yeah.
We got a few.
Big spread and a diverse spread of venues as well, which is really cool. How did 100 Burgers start? Are there 100 burgers involved in 100 burgers? These are the key questions, I think.
There was, but Dara and I, we had the opportunity to to lease a pub in the city, which is the Mercat.
We needed food in the venue, and we didn't want to spend any money in the kitchen, so we came back from a trip from America and decided, why don't we do a food truck? Obviously that turned into Mr. Burger, but originally it was going to be called 100 Burgers, and the idea was that we would sell 100 burgers, and that was it.
And then they're gone for the day.
Not a good business model.
Yeah, so you did the maths and you're like, oh shit.
So
Then obviously recently you've been working with Mr. Yum, starting to roll out things, pick up, delivery, that sort of space, but then into the table ordering. Talk about that table ordering and then what percentage engagement you've been able to get of the revenue going through it in the different types of venues as well across the two groups.
Yeah, so I think the first venue that we kicked off was Fancy Hanks.
Yes.
Really well received there. We're sitting at about
93% last week.
93% of total revenue.
Correct. Yeah.
It's almost as high as you can get, really, when that other percentage is people that didn't bring their phone or don't have a credit card or things like that.
Yeah.
So for us, I think it's pretty amazing to get that high. I thought at the start, maybe we'd hit 60 or 70%.
I think there'd be some pushback.
Yeah, exactly.
Initially, particularly for that venue.
It's still early days for that kind of technology, but it's been super well received.
Yeah. Notice any different spending habits, like compared to traditional service, like people spending differently on?
Yeah, I mean, people shop with their stomachs. It's like the visual menu's been great. Like people seeing, photos of the food they can order. Like it's been really good. I mean, people just ordering more. The ability just, I'm thirsty. I've finished my beer. I want another beer. You don't need to wait for a service person to come and, take your order. You just, boom, away you go. So then beer appears on the table. It's pretty. Yeah,
the visual menu is definitely a good thing. Some of the dishes that we sell, especially at Hanks, are southern dishes that people wouldn't necessarily be that familiar with.
Yeah, what's an example of some of the
hush puppies?
Hush puppies, yeah.
People have they didn't know what that was.
It's not a dog. They're not.
But something, people think it's a dessert or something and they don't get what it is. So now we can show the photos of the food.
What it looks like.
And, they'll give it a go. Whereas if you explain something to someone that they don't know what it is, you can see they're like, maybe we'll try it another time. And then the other big one is those second and third drinks. People are getting those a lot easier now. They don't have to worry about waiting for a staff member that might be busy delivering food or taking food orders. They can just put their order in. Yeah,
I think we were somewhat apprehensive at the start going, at the end of the day, having a service person, there's always going to be, a wait there to take your order. You're always going to get more drink sales, but on a busy night, they might have 10 or 20 tables to look after. So, we've actually found that we're actually getting a better drink spend in a lot of cases. Because it's right there. They can order a drink when they're ready. There's no waiting involved.
Well, that's the other thing. You can go a bit rogue as well, rather than waiting for the rest of the table. You can just order a pint, if you're a little bit ahead of everybody else.
Relate to that.
It's pretty handy. Yeah.
The sequence of service you guys have talked to us a fair bit about before, and obviously rolling out table ordering in all of these different types of venues. What does that approach look like in the service style and how you introduce the guests and the product? And how does that differ from a venue like a Fancy Hanks to a Welcome to Thornbury or Welcome to Brunswick?
We introduce people, we sit them down at the table, we go, hey guys, we're using Mr. Yum. You just need to access it from your mobile phone with your camera. We'll come back in a minute and we'll see how you're going. We go away, give it 5 minutes, come back with some cutlery or water or whatever it might be, and go, how'd you go, guys? And we'd find a lot of the time people will be like, we're fine.
Done.
We're all good. Yeah, the order's in, we're all good. We originally had lots of flyers and posters and handouts ready to give to the customers in case they sort of freaked out, and we barely had to use them. Like we have a printed menu at Hanks.
I haven't really used it.
It's barely gone out.
Are you trying to adopt that same approach across the different venues and standardise it? Is it similar, or is there more a high level of service in the restaurant type venues versus the more pub style venues, or is it largely the same sort of introduction?
You got a food truck compared with an almost fine dining restaurant, compared with a big 1,000-person pub. They require different sort of approaches, but the technology's been really usable and easy to adopt. So we haven't found that it's needed too much prompting.
Like we said, it's evolving so quickly, and people are really picking it up so fast that I think I look at where we'll be in a couple of months, I think we'll almost be able to get rid of all of that, and people will just see, you know, the Mr. Yum sticker, and
know
they'll,
what to do.
you know, it's a brand recognition, and they'll go, great. I understand it the same way you'd see a MasterCard or a Visa card. You kind of get it.
Yes, that's always the goal of any platform. Like,
Yeah.
how can this be intuitive enough that you go, it's familiar enough that you just get it and you use it? Always work to do on that, but
we found
the
that.
goal, right?
Yeah.
I think
Generally, it's been
yeah.
intuitive.
I think the approach that we always take is be ready for someone to have no idea about it, and be ready for someone to be a complete expert in it. And if they fall, no matter how they fall on that spectrum, we can deal with it.
Yes.
And we've found that most people are very comfortable with it.
Is there particular? Is there a hook around how they try and position it to the customer?
There's so many actually hooks that sometimes you kind of struggle to say them all, because
Yeah.
we go, you know, it's great that you can see photos of the food, you can order online, you can pay online, you can see the
Dietary,
menu,
you can-
you've got your dietary
filters.
filters, you can do all of this with no touch. You can split bills by, you know, ordering separately. So sometimes it's a little bit of a where do you start?
Yes.
So I think that's why we kind of sit them down, get them having a look at the system, and then we can come back and go, what questions do you have? Do you have any, you know, any requirements that you have? And then we can go, oh great, so you're vegetarian, here's what we can do, you can do this.
So that's like the customer side, and then on the staff side, so telling them that, hey, we're doing this, we're transforming the model through to training and teaching them how to present it. What did that process look for you guys, and kind of the good parts and the bad parts? Like, what's hard about that, and what did you find that worked well to get that staff engagement and
Yeah, I mean, one of the examples I was talking to Miles about before is I remember when I was a bartender, and the worst thing that could happen is that you forget an order.
Yes.
And you go, so one of the big selling points for the staff has been like, the stuff that you love doing, which is talking to your customers, greeting them, how are you going, are you having a good night, delivering that service, that's the stuff that you enjoy. The stuff that you don't enjoy is the note-taking, you know, or putting orders through, going back to the till, plugging it in. So we can take that away from them, and they can concentrate on giving really great service to the customers.
You spend so much of your time. It's just, at the end of the day, it's wasted time, really.
Yes.
So we're sort of channeling that time into genuine hospitality, where you can have a chat, a meaningful chat with the customers, rather than, spending that time taking orders.
Like, I guess a different thing as well about digital menus versus the traditional paper menus, the data piece as well around like behaviour. And we were actually hanging out recently looking at some of the data on clicks and percentages and all that sort of stuff. Like, how do you think the decision-making process around like menu design, etc., will change with this data over time?
It's just, the biggest thing I've noticed is just getting things on sale. So, you know, I think back to what we did before when we had a printed menu. They would send us the new menu item, say we're doing a special, and then we would have to send it to the designer, then the designer would do it, then we'd have to send it to the printer, and then we pick it up to the printer, you know, and that, you know, sometimes it might be a week and a half process.
Realise there's a typo in it or something like that.
Exactly.
You're like, oh,
Yeah. Now we just put it to Mr. Yum, and it's on sale in 5 minutes. Well, I mean, I was sitting at the bar the other day, and a lady said, I want to get a martini, but it's not on the menu. And I just said, give me 2 seconds. I typed it up. It was on there. 5 minutes later, she was ordering martinis. And then specials, obviously, as well. You know, previously we'd print it out on a separate card, and sometimes they, you know, get lost or whatever. Now it can be front of mind. We can add its own section or category onto the
Right
menu.
at the top,
Right
yeah.
at the top. People
Yeah.
see it. We've got the photography there. It's amazing.
We've always known there's a science to designing a menu. We know that you put things higher on the menu, they'll sell more. You bold things on the menu, they'll sell more. And there's certain other things you can do to boost your sales in certain areas. But Mr. Yum's just so much faster. I mean, if a product's not selling, you can either promote it, but if it still doesn't sell, it's good. You can actually take it off. There's no point in having the stock sitting in the fridge and, you know, going off on you. It's like you just take it off the menu. So I think all that data that you can actually pull out of Mr. Yum is really powerful. And making sure you've got your good margin items like higher up, you know, or placed strategically in the menu. Like Mr. Yum's great for that sort of stuff, pushing your the items that you want to push on any given day. So
Guys, thank you. You've rolled out this thing really fast and to lots of different types of venues really quickly. So thanks for sharing all your insights around
Our pleasure.
how you did it.
Pleasure.
Yeah, really appreciate it.
No problem.
Thanks.